This month on the channel, we're looking at what's coming next for the restoration of the Homestake Opera House.
Right, so when the Historic Homestake Opera House Society formed in 1998, the idea was to restore the Homestake Opera House to its original grandeur as it was in 1914.
The Historic Homestake Opera House has a long and storied history dating back to its construction in 1914. The theater and accompanying recreation center was gifted to the city of Lead by philanthropist and patron of the arts Phoebe Hearst, who believed that education and the arts were essential for the betterment of society. Her vision of the Homestake Opera House as a world-class theater that could rival any of the country supported her philosophy that by improving education in the arts, she could help to create a more enlightened and cultured society. Built by the Homestake Mining Company as a way to provide entertainment for their employees in the surrounding community, the Opera House quickly became a cultural hub, hosting concerts, plays, and other events.
For anybody who doesn't know, it needs this not just because of normal wear and tear over 100 years, but because there was a massive fire in 1984.
Tragedy struck when a fire broke out in the building, destroying much of the theater, including the stage, historic murals, and decorative plasterwork. The Opera House lay in ruins for several years, but the community refused to let it go. After fundraising and with support of the local community, the initial restoration of the Opera House began in the mid-1990s with the painstaking reconstruction of parts of the theater as well as the lobby.
That effort starting was huge, and a lot of work, a lot of time went in. At least $3 million went into the restoration of the lobby area, proving that this could be done, that things could go forward. Over the course of the pandemic, we were able to raise $3.2 million towards an $8 million goal before we announced the campaign publicly. So that's been a major push. And of course, now we're in different roles. I serve as the executive director, and we have another development director doing that important work.
Work on the first phase of a 4-stage reconstruction process began in January of 2023 and will continue over the next couple of years until the full restoration is complete. Last month, construction began in the main theater, and the installation of the fire suppression and safety systems continues throughout the rest of the building.
We planned this year around the project that's happening in the theater right now. We knew that we would close mid-December and open back up at the end of March, and that was the key with working with contractors and letting them know, any work in the theater has to be done by March 20th. The first pieces are all health and safety, ADA accessibility, those infrastructure pieces that are necessary for the rest of it to happen. So right now, of course, it's fire suppression and alarm installation. The next pieces would be HVAC, getting a good heating and cooling system so that the theater is comfortable year-round, which again opens up our possibilities for operations. Other pieces are an addition to the building in the way of a new service elevator, so that not only does it make load-in more easy for artists, it creates ADA accessibility to the stage. Currently, our stage is not accessible, and that's a shame because we want artists of all types, all abilities on our stage. Then we get into production technology, we get into some upgrades there, we get into fixing some areas. Our dressing rooms need to be remodeled and redesigned for functionality, costume storage, rehearsal space, workshop space, and finally getting into some exterior issues that need to be taken care of. Just like any old building in Leeds, South Dakota, there's parts of the building that are just seriously out of date, that they've borne the test of time, but they need some TLC. So we'll see to all of those things in the process. And I think what most people are looking forward to in that, of course, is the restored interior of the theater, which is in the plan. But all these infrastructure pieces have to be in place before we start plastering, before we start making it pretty. So we look for functionality, and then we look for aesthetic. The idea then is that for these months, what do you do to keep people engaged, to keep people involved? And so we've done some smaller things. We've done a little bit of outreach in the community for Winterfest, selling hot dogs out in the park. We've had a fundraising event over near Valentine's Day that occurred. And then we recently did an experimental theater piece in our conference room, which is not a theater space, but we made it one. And that keeps people remembering that shows are happening, performances are going on, we have things for you to do, and that keeps us poised and keeps us active and keeps us in people's minds. Right. People can get involved in a lot of ways. Obviously, the one that's staring us right in the face is money. It just costs a lot to do what we're doing. Anybody who wants to get involved, who has anything to give on that level, it doesn't have to be a huge gift. We love huge gifts, but it doesn't have to be a huge gift. We can do this with small, meaningful gifts from numerous people, and they can contact us here at the Homestake Opera House office to arrange that and get more information. Also, volunteerism is massive. We need front of house staff for shows. We need back in the backstage. We need load in, load out people. We would take people to walk in here after a show and clean. We would take any form of volunteerism. It frees staff up to go find those major gifts. It frees us up to keep the wheels rolling. It doesn't take long to catch a passion for this place, and we love to share that, and we love to see other people get the fire.
We can't do this without the support of our community, both here in Lead and beyond. Would you consider a donation to help us restore, preserve, and protect this important piece of South Dakota history? You can also support us by subscribing to this channel, liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next month on another video of the history and restoration of the Jewel of the Black Hills.